Right now, more workers are being let go by the federal government. We're going to look at what they can do to keep their heads above water. Also, there's new safety features on Instagram and Facebook to help keep teens safe and control the amount of time they spend on the apps. And rewards are one of the biggest perks when it comes to credit cards, but so many people continue to chase them, even with debt hanging over their heads. We're going to bring in an expert who can help keep our pocketbooks in check. This is The Take. Let's go. Hello and welcome. I'm Chesley McNeil, and this is The Take, where we go above and beyond the headlines and look at the why and how stories are impacting your community and your neighbors and yourself. We invite experts in to give their take on today's top stories. We try to have a little fun as well. Keeping kids safe on social media is becoming tougher and tougher with each new app and update. Today, Meta is rolling out some new safety features aimed at allowing parents to monitor content and control time their teens spend on their apps. Here now with more is Jennifer Hanley. She's the Meta North American Head of Safety. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No problem. How scary is it for teens these days and preteens to be on social media?
You know what? We don't want it to be scary. We actually want it to really be a positive experience for teens. That's why we have our teen accounts. So on Instagram, for example, we have built-in protections for young people, really to help empower them and help support their experience. We provide things like, strict settings to really control who can message them, the type of content that they're seeing, and even, tools to help them manage the time that they're spending. So we want it to be a safe and age-appropriate and positive experience for young people.
You know, social media changes so fast. It evolves quickly. How do you guys stay ahead of this?
It does. Things move quickly, and especially if you're a teen, but that's exactly it. We really want to make sure that we're talking to teens, we're talking to parents, we're talking to experts to help inform what we're doing and providing the right tools and resources for them. That's why we launched teen accounts last fall. We've been really excited to see how those are doing and to hear from parents as well about how they feel about the support that we're providing through these tools and features for young people. We've seen so far, that we have about 54 million teens around the world enrolled in teen accounts now to really help keep them safe on our platforms. And we're still growing and expanding that around the globe. So those are some of the things we're really doing with our teen accounts. And today, what we're also announcing is that we're expanding this. We want to make sure that parents have peace of mind across the apps their teens are using. And so we're expanding teen accounts to Facebook and Messenger today as well to really help keep people safe.
Explain to our viewers that are watching, our parents that are watching, how this is different from a regular account.
Yep, so teen accounts have built-in protections for young people. When you sign up for your account, or if you're an existing account, we automatically enroll you. So for example, with Instagram, we have limitations on who can contact you, the type of content you see. We have a daily limit. After 60 minutes of daily use, a teen gets a notification encouraging them to leave the app. And we even have sleep mode on at night to mute notifications, for example. And those are just a few of the features that we have. We also do have additional parental supervision tools, so parents get insights into who their teen's been messaging with, the types of topics they're interested in, and parents can set even more strict limitations on the time their teens are spending on our apps. So we're really excited to give these features both the built-in protections for teens and those additional supervision tools for parents to help them.
So this has already been rolled out with Instagram already, right?
Yep, we started the rollout for Instagram last fall, and at the time we really committed to building this out even more. So we're excited to be launching this on Facebook and Messenger now.
So what is the parents saying about it? Are they excited about it? Has it worked for them? Have you gotten any negative feedback at all?
We're talking to parents all the time and continuing to hear from them. So we actually did commission some research. We had a survey done with the group Ipsos. And we heard overwhelmingly, like more than 94% of parents really felt that teen accounts were helpful. 85% of the parents surveyed found that teen accounts could help them help their teens have a more positive experience on our platforms. And more than 90% were really favorable about the different features that we offer. So we were really excited to hear that feedback, to see that this is resonating with parents. And we'll continue listening and hearing from them about additional tools and features that they need that can really help them guide their teens online.
Lastly, is there anything else parents can do along with the features that you now have to help keep their teens safe?
Absolutely. So we have a really robust family center. It's familycenter.meta.com. parents can go there to get all sorts of expert-backed tips and resources to really help start the conversation at home. The tools are really one part of this, but another thing that you should be doing is having conversations with your teens, modeling kind of the behavior you want them to have when it comes to screen time or phone-free zones in the home. So having those conversations, get curious, ask your teens what they like about being online, some of the positive things that they might be doing when they're using social media, and utilize those resources in the Family Center to help guide those conversations.
All right, North America's head of security, Jennifer Hadley, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, Georgia child care teachers and staff are getting a $500 bonus to recognize their hard work. The Quality Rated Workforce Bonus, launched by the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning, will distribute annual bonuses to eligible staff at high-quality child care programs. This initiative will invest $17 million annually to reward those who exceed state standards. The Jonesboro City Council is moving forward with plans to audit its mayor after claims she misused city funds. Members say it's to restore public trust. The mayor questions the timing, pointing out 2 incomplete audits from 2022 and 2023. The National Weather Service will be in Spalding County today to survey tornado damage. The storm hit Metro Atlanta Monday morning, knocking down trees and damaging some homes there. Spalding County Fire and EMA reported 11 homes that were damaged from what could be a tornado in that area. We'll find out more a little bit later on this afternoon. Take a look. Our forecast today calls for that sunshine, but you better grab a jacket or at least a coat before you leave home today, because those temperatures will be on the cool side. Keep in mind, we should be in the low 70s this time of year. 61 will be our afternoon high. Temperatures will fall off tonight. Now, we'll have some breezy winds around this afternoon, but they'll fall off. And with the clear skies, it's going to allow that temperature to fall back down into the 20s and 30s out there. So where you see the highlighted counties in pink, up to the north and over to the west of us, that's where we have a freeze warning that kicks in at 2 a.m. and will last until 10 a.m. Wednesday. That's where we can see temperatures as low as 30 degrees. The frost advisory is from Cobb County southward. That's highlighted in the blue. That's where we can see temperatures at 33 degrees, and that's where that could damage some plants. And so you definitely want to take the necessary precautions. Bring your plants inside, folks, or just cover them up, maybe with a plastic bag or a paper bag. That'll do it. We'll see that temperature gradually go up to the 70s by the time we get to Thursday. We'll have 73 degrees for the high, but we'll also have extra clouds move in thanks to a front that's going to move through. That same front will knock those temperatures back down as we head toward the weekend, back down to 63 degrees for a high on Saturday. But look at those 80s coming back to us as we head into Monday of next week. Not a whole lot of rain to speak of. Again, we'll have a chance for some scattered showers late Thursday, going into Friday morning. Should be out of the way by Friday afternoon. So there you have it, right there, folks. Take the necessary precautions, would you? We'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere. After another volatile day on Wall Street, President Donald Trump remains steadfast on his plans to raise taxes on nearly every product imported into the United States. And now he's threatening even harsher tariffs on China if that country doesn't back down from escalating trade wars. Joining us now is NBC Washington correspondent Alice Barr, who's been covering politics for years now. And Alice, given China's strong reaction to President Trump's latest tariff threat, how likely is this trade war to escalate even further?
Chesley, yeah, that is the concern now, because China is saying that it is going to fight to the end after President Trump threatened to increase tariffs on Chinese goods another 50% for a total of 104% if China does not withdraw its retaliatory tariffs. Over the past few days, President Trump had announced a 34% additional tariff on Chinese goods, and then China said they were going to do the same back to the U.S. And now, with the potential for this to just keep going higher and higher, the Chinese Ministry of Commerce is calling this all a mistake upon a mistake and really looking like they're going to push back. We've seen similar, not to that degree, but similar kind of retaliation from Canada. The European Union is also talking about voting on shortly on some potential tariffs to slap onto U.S. goods. So there's a variety of countries, and China would fall into probably the adversary, though certainly a huge trading partner category. But then there are the allies in the EU and Canada that are all contemplating their own retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. And this is all pointing toward escalation at this current moment.
Wow. With international leaders, Alice, looking to negotiate, is the president firm on the tariffs that he's set for this coming Wednesday?
So that's the big question, because as I noted, to this point, everyone's in kind of an escalatory posture. But at the same time, President Trump says he has been having ongoing conversations with Japan. He's preparing to have them with other countries. And there's been a little bit of different messaging within the administration, with some administration officials saying that these are not negotiating tools, that these are permanent tariffs. The president himself, though, has contradicted that at times by saying that he wants to have, these negotiations and would potentially take a very good deal. But how good? Because Vietnam, for instance, offered to eliminate tariffs on U.S. imports, but White House advisor Peter Navarro says that's not enough, accusing the country of non-tariff cheating. The European Union offered zero tariffs on industrial goods. President Trump says that's not enough. He wants the EU to eliminate the trade deficit by purchasing $350 billion in energy. So he's willing to have conversations, but are these other countries going to be willing to reach the relatively high bar that he's talking about now to have any kind of pause? Because he said just yesterday he is not planning to pause the tariffs that are taking effect tomorrow, while negotiations continue, and maybe something could change on that front.
Well, Alice, now you have Republicans voicing their concerns, like Senator Ted Cruz did. Could we see enough bipartisan pressure here to influence President Trump's tariff strategy here?
Yeah, what we heard from Senator Ted Cruz, who's a strong Republican ally of President Trump, is that he thinks if this is an extended situation where there are really high tariffs involving a lot of countries, both on, imports into this country that push prices up for consumers, but also on U.S. goods going into other countries, that would be a pretty terrible situation. I mean, he didn't mince words. But what he did say is that he wants to see President Trump announce some deals, to come out with some results of negotiations with other countries, and that he thinks if we started to see some of that, that might steady the stock market and might kind of start to turn a corner on this entire situation.
Well, that's something new every day, Alice, and we appreciate you keeping us up to date. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thousands of protesters gathered all around the country this weekend, protesting the efforts being made by President Donald Trump and Elon Musk to downsize the government. Thousands of marches from Piedmont Park to the state capitol for the hands-off rally, which called out the administration on a wide range of issues. The rally included former CDC workers who were recently let go, and as well as immigration and reproductive rights activists in that march. With thousands of workers across the metro area now without a job, many are scrambling to figure out what their next steps will be. Joining us now is John Hatton. He's the Staff Vice President of Policy and Programs for the National Active Retired Federal Employees Association. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's get your take on what's been happening. How big of this is a blow from where you sit?
The CDC layoffs are just the latest of a number of blows to federal employment that could impact federal operations on behalf of the American people. So some of the research they do at the CDC and what they take care of, from birth defects to tobacco use, a number of programs are being cut. That's also meaning jobs are being lost, and that's going to mean less for the American people. Weather service is another one that's been hit in different cases, less staffing, national parks. Across the board, we're seeing cutbacks that ultimately, because there is no clear plan about how they're carrying out these activities, I think it's going to harm critical government operations.
Not only are we hearing that federal workers are struggling to find new jobs, we're hearing that they're having a hard time signing up for unemployment. What do these federal workers now have to do in a time of uncertainty like this?
Well, certainly applying for unemployment if you are subject to a reduction in force. We've heard some people maybe put on administrative leave before it actually goes into effect, so they may not be fully terminated as of yet. They may be looking at different offers that may be coming out in terms of voluntary early retirement, voluntary severance. Certainly our heart goes out to them. They've done nothing wrong. They've done their jobs well. They're not getting laid off due to performance, particularly in this case with these reductions in force. So they may have a lot of questions. They're obviously got to get their resumes up to date and potentially post on LinkedIn and start looking for jobs. But there's a lot of things in the transition out of federal employment that they may have questions about.
Gotcha. Next week we'll mark the tax filing deadline. Any advice for active, retired, or laid off federal workers?
Get your taxes in on time. I think we have resources at NARF in terms of how to take withdrawal strategies around that tax filing. Typically, those strategies should be applied during the tax year. And so there's a lot of strategies, whether you want to convert to Roth to take out your money and time your withdrawals to reduce taxes as a retiree, or just in terms of what your investment advice would be going forward in terms of whether it's in the TSP or outside the TSP. One of the things for some of these laid off workers is they can keep their money in the TSP, which typically has pretty low administrative fees for index funds.
All right, John, I want you to play a forecaster a bit here. And do you see in your crystal ball when we could be coming out of all this?
Well, I think a lot of this will ramp up into the congressional budget process for the next fiscal year 2026. So the president's budget hasn't come out for that yet. That's fairly typical when a new president is in. When Biden was in his first term, in his first year, his budget came out in May. So I think there's a very accelerated plan for all these reductions in force and potentially ending programs. But there'll be questions, one, for the courts to take a look at in terms of the administration is stopping certain programs. They've eliminated certain federal agencies. They may not have the authority to do that. They're pushing a very novel constitutional argument that's contrary to legal precedent on their ability to not spend funds Congress directs them to. And there's going to be a range of different statutory provisions that in some cases are very clear that the administration cannot impound funds, in other cases are less clear. I think that clarity will then feed into the budget process where the president's budget comes out and they have negotiations with Congress over what they're funding into the future. And I expect that whole process to be very contentious. Typically, you need Democrats to be part of the process in the Senate to get the bill over the finish line. So there'll be a lot more to play out in the courts and in Congress before all is said and done. But I think a timeline is heading into the next fiscal year will be critical.
All right. John Haddon, Staff Vice President of Policy and Programs, National Active Retired Federal Employees Association. Thanks for your insight and joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Plenty more stories for you coming up. This is The Take on 11Alive Plus. Right now, many of us are trying to gain any edge we can over our personal finances. And when it comes to credit cards, it comes with using those with hopes of raking in those points, right? New numbers from Bankrate show 76% of Americans carry at least one credit card. 72% of those card holders with a month-to-month balance say they make at least some effort to earn credit card rewards. Add to that, however, 54% of credit card holders say it's gotten harder to pay off their credit cards over the past year. Here to help us make some more sense of this, get more bang for our buck when it comes to those rewards is Morgan Ward, Assistant Professor of Marketing at Emory, whose primary research focuses on consumer behavior. Welcome back to the show, Morgan.
Thank you for having me.
All right, come on, help us make sense of this thing. Is it surprising to you to hear these numbers when it comes to this shaky economy that we're in, that people are using these credit cards with a hard time of paying them back?
Not at all. I think everybody feels really overextended, or at least extended right now. And so the way that we deal with that is putting our purchases off, in a sense, by using credit cards to purchase them so we can pay them over time.
All right, so that Bankrate study also found that close to 90% of Gen Xers and 85% of millennials say they are using credit cards for the rewards, obviously. But again, is that scary for this younger generation in this economy?
I don't think it's a bad idea as long as you're using the credit card points right, actually. I mean, there's lots of great credit cards that give you benefits for just purchasing on them, but you have to select the right kind of credit card to fit your needs.
Does it have to be one or the other when it comes to paying off credit cards and earning those rewards?
there's a lot of differences between the credit cards when you're choosing the correct one. But the number one thing is to make sure you're paying it off every single month, because you don't want to be carrying a balance.
So now let me ask you this: is it better to use your credit cards, or it seems like all companies now have these reward programs, right? If you just sign up with them, they give you this little card or certificate or something, and every time you use them, you get some points. Is it better to do that instead of using the credit cards?
Actually, it probably isn't better. It's probably best to get just the right credit card that has the best benefits. These dedicated credit cards, so you're going to get Nordstrom dollars or Marriott points, tend to be the lowest ratio of benefit to purchase. So those tend not to be the best ones, actually.
Give us some examples of some you think that are good.
So most experts in this topic are going to say that the Chase Sapphire is the best. It has a fairly low rate to procure the credit card, and it has really good benefits. But I would say the tips for people who are researching this are basically the following. One, you want to make sure that the benefits that the card offers are something that is valuable to you. A lot of these cards offer travel. If you don't care about travel, that's not the right card for you.
Right.
So make sure that you're getting the right benefit. Make sure that you understand the value of the points. The reason that the benefit doesn't really come with something like the Marriott card or the Kohl's cash card is because the value of the points is relatively low. So you want to make sure that the value of the points that you're getting actually trades in for a really good benefit. And then make sure that you're not overextending yourself to get the credit card. A lot of these cards do have costs everywhere from $0 to I've seen as high as $700. So you want to make sure the benefits are offsetting those costs. And I would say the last two things would be to check that the way that you get the benefits isn't too complicated and full of difficult websites to navigate or complicated rules. And then the last one is it's so exciting to get a new credit card with these benefits, and oftentimes people will end up overspending on that card to get the benefit. So you want to keep in mind that this is money we have to pay back, and even though the benefits are exciting, you don't want to overspend just to get them.
Absolutely. All right, one last quick question, and everybody's different, but how many credit cards would be too many credit cards, you'd say?
It depends if you're paying them off all the time. Since your credit is based on a ratio between how much money you have on credit cards and how much total credit you have, having a lot of credit cards aren't bad at all, as long as you are keeping the balances low and paid off. So, that's a person by person thing.
Got it. With all that money you got, I know you got a couple credit. No, I'm kidding. Thanks for joining us. Morgan, really appreciate you joining us today. Have a great day.
Thank you for having me.
All right, take care. All right, we're back with my final take right after this. All right, before we go, my final take. Now, if you've been keeping up with science lately, you've probably heard about scientists bringing animals back from extinction. Yeah, they call it de-extinction. A company called Colossal Bioscience claims they've done it, reviving an extinct species called the dire wolf. The wolf species has been extinct for over 10,000 years. Is it real, though? There's the pups right there. Yeah, they did it. You be the judge. Colossal scientists said they edited around 20 genes on the current gray wolf, which is closely related to the dire wolf, and to make all this happen. Now, those edits in genes were to alter the animal's size, color, muscle structure, the ear shape, just to name a few. It'll take about a year to see if those edits actually work. So, is this an edited species to an existing species, or is this a rebirth of an extinct species? I know what I think. Of course, the scientists at Colossal say it's all about how you classify a species. The dinosaur could be next, maybe the saber-toothed tiger, we see. The question we need to ask ourselves is, should those animals be living in this day and age? Well, that's all I got for you today, folks. Encourage somebody and make it a great day.